Okay. Good afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody. August 4th. Welcome to MVP Office Hours. I am Dale Ziegler. Along with me is Joy Shutters-Helbing. Say hello, Joy.
Hello. Hello.
Squire is taking advantage of some very well-deserved time off today. I believe he's at a gaming convention and living his best life there. So, Squire, if you watch this, we miss you. Can't wait to have you back, but please enjoy every single second of it. You've earned it, man. You can follow all of us at our various social places, me on LinkedIn, Joy Squire, and MVP Office Hours at Twitter or X or whatever Elon's calling it now. You can also jump onto our general info site, mvpofficehours.info, or shoot us an email at this Gmail right here. But the out of office reply will say, hey, go post in this group because, well, everybody should have a chance to answer the question. So we will be sharing this deck out with links, including to the office hours group here. So if you are not a member of it, please go join and be part of the offline contributions. Our next call is scheduled for 2 weeks from today. So normally we meet first and third Friday of the month, but I'm about ready to send a group text to Squire and Joy and say, hey, September's going to get thrown in a blender. Let's chat. But at least for August, we're on the first and third routine. We'll meet on the 18th in 2 weeks. If you've never been here before, it's an open Q&A. Bring your open issues or hypotheticals or forward lookings, whatever. The goal is to get as many questions answered as possible, or I should say as close to 100%. We don't want to slam a bunch of questions in here. We want to be thoughtful and give time to each question. If it's an actual issue or a what if, whatever, that's what we're all here to help each other with. Registration should always be live at the bit.ly over here. You can catch past recordings either through the Trailblazer community, Twitter, or YouTube. And if you're going to post about us, use our favorite hashtags. We want everyone to jump in. We want everyone to share their insights. If you have a question, you can either post it in the chat or raise your hand using a reaction, or if there's dead air, just speak up. Everyone is free to answer. Joy just raised her hand, giving an example. If you have a question, you're gonna have to wait because I'm not done with this opening spiel yet, sorry. The chat is also there to share any links or resources or even answers. Sometimes we've had questions asked in the chat that then get answered right there in the chat. And that, it's one more question answered, which is awesome. Because it's Zoom, you can definitely share your screen, but please do not share production. Please do not share real data, your client's data, anything like that. We are recording. So two things, we don't want any of that real life production data saved on the video and on YouTube. Also, if you are not comfortable or permitted to be recorded, please jump off. We will share the recording as well as the deck and all links and everything sometime this weekend. My goal is before I sign off for the day today, but loose goal is the weekend, and we'll have it posted in a few different places for you to go catch up. And then finally, just be professional. We're here to have fun. We're just friends. Chances are, if you think you're asking a dumb question, you're not the first person to have asked it, or you are the first person to have asked it, and many other people behind you are like, thank you for asking that question. We're here to help each other, but we got to stay professional. Again, we're being recorded. You don't want the internet to save all those bad things you may have said about your company or your clients or whoever in between. So let's keep it professional and positive. Let's have a good Friday here. Upcoming events in the upper right, the upcoming community events. Of course, Midwest Dreamin', the one that started it all so many years ago, the latest iteration coming up in 2 weeks in Minneapolis. And then tacked onto that for a double whammy is Witness Success. So highly recommend if you can go to one or if you can go to both. Very affordable, great content, great people, great opportunities to network, great opportunities to ask anybody anything. If you're just getting started in the Salesforce space, or you've been here for a while but want to start meeting people, whatever, it's great opportunities. Life Sciences Dreamin' in Fort Lauderdale the week after that, then Mile High Dreamin' after that, right before Labor Day weekend. And then, of course, the big show in San Francisco in September is Dreamforce. So join, I believe I've seen 45,000 is the target attendance. I don't know anymore. It's not 170,000 anymore like it used to be, but still a lot of people. So if you have a chance to actually go to San Francisco, everybody should do that at least once for Dreamforce. And then finally, anything local and in person, you can get links to here. Like I said, we're going to share the deck out later. Joy is a user group leader. I'm a former user group leader. Squire's user group leader. I know we have a few other local user group leaders on the call. Great opportunities to be in the same place at the same time, have some lunch or coffee or whatever, and network, share ideas. If you've been helped, pay it forward. Find someone there who's looking to get in. So great opportunities to do something not virtual. All right, and so with that, we mentioned earlier that we do have the MVP office hours Trailblazer community group, and we had 2 questions put out there since the last call. The first one looks like it might have been answered, but I saw Lizelle is on the call. If you want to come off mute and just tell us what the question was and how you got it answered.
Wait, Squire, can you repeat that whole intro? I was
That's not Squire, that's Dale.
Oh, I'm sorry, just looking at your name. I was interrupted because my family came into my office to tell me something, and I was totally distracted with your whole opening. So
Recorded, you
The
can
whole
listen to it
opening.
later.
Well, so Salesforce is the epitome of the cloud, which is just somebody else's computer. It took me 6 minutes to say that.
okay, thank you for explaining Salesforce.
You're welcome.
I want to keep it professional.
Okay. All right, Lizelle. You had posted a question that the community jumped in and answered. If you want to come off mute and tell us a little bit about it.
Actually, yeah, it was something super silly. I thought I didn't realize when I did my screen flow that that number field was actually a text field. So when I was trying to map it, for the life of me, I couldn't find it. And once I realized it was a number field and saw the field on my screen flow that wasn't a number, I just switched it out and it solves the problem.
Gotcha. Not a silly thing. Definitely not a silly thing. That has hit so many of us so many times that you can put numbers in text fields. You can't put text in number fields, but a number is going to look like a number. So it's an easy thing to fall into. But glad we're able that the community is able to get it solved for you.
Yes, love the community. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. All right. And then Katie just posted within the last hour and a half on missing activities buttons. Katie, want to come off mute, please?
Yeah, I had a MVP help me and she said, maybe I should put this in MVP office hours. So it's definitely a stumper. Can I share my screen? It'd just be easy to show you what is happening. Buttons, share screen. Oh, you have to disable participants sharing.
Oh, hold on.
Okay, Squire's done this before.
All right.
So I need to do it.
Or I can just try my best to walk you through it.
No, here. We'll make you a co-host temporarily. That should give you the ability to.
I got it.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right,
Try again.
now can you share?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay. Hopefully. Okay, can you see my case object here?
We see the market basket, yes.
I don't have the little beans. Okay, I'm in the right window. Hello, is this thing on?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm going to open up my lightning page here. And I put the activities components because we wanted to add tasks to cases, to a particular case record type, or not to a record type, but to cases. So I added the activities component, and I'm missing the ability to include the create a new task button on the activities component. If you go to the account object and look at the activities component, the button create new task is there. In setup, behind the scenes, the page layout does include the lightning actions that says new task. It's on the page layout. And as a system admin, I mean, I know you can, Andrew, you had a great suggestions of like, is it aligned with their profiles and things like that. Right now, I'm just trying as an admin to see it and to get it, and I can worry about that. I just need to get it up there first. So it should be showing up to at least me, and it's not.
Matt asked in the chat, do you have multiple case record types?
I do.
I came across this once before, and I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly, but if you have multiple record types, there's something you have to do. I'm trying to look it up in the background, but there's something that has to do with when you create a second record type that you have to like add the global action back in.
But is that
Associate the global action to the record type.
I'll try and look it up because I had this exact same thing happen, and it had to do with the multiple record types.
this is sounding familiar and I hate it.
I appreciate that.
I feel like you fix it once and then you don't have to go do it again.
I feel like
Yeah,
this
'cause
is
you-
just,
Mhm.
Well, you never go back down to having no record types. So this problem doesn't happen that often.
Right.
Hmm.
All right. Well, while Matt goes down that rabbit hole, do we have any other questions?
It does not appear so. Delete, can you add chatter component on a page instead of activities?
yes. Yeah, I don't know if that was a question directed at me, but yes, we have chatter on there.
All right.
Do you have it set as tabbed view or normal?
Can you, sorry to interrupt, can you go to the global actions for those things? I think that's where you have to assign it. Sorry, I wish I had like a better explanation, but
Go to my global actions. Oh, and by the way, you're going to see our technical debt. Don't judge me. I inherited it. We have 3 new tasks, log calls, new events, part of packages of which package? I don't know. I don't know which package they belong to, but they're there. And this is the one that I'm assuming we're working on, but just to cover all my bases, I put all 3 new tasks on the page layout and not one
I
of
know,
them showed
yeah,
up.
it's really weird. So it's like log a call, one of the new tasks, yeah.
Yeah,
Edit
I
that.
just
Edit.
Oh,
Pod shared a help and training link in the chat. Actions are not visible in the activity tab in Lightning Experience.
Hmm.
That article talked about the record types and global actions. That's why I thought maybe that might apply.
It,
my technical decks on the YouTubes.
Can we just double check that the page layout is the correct one assigned? Because like starting at the basic, like the page layout, making sure that it's the right one. If you have multiple record types, make sure that your profile is matched to the page layout that you added them to. It's like a really
Yeah.
good starting point. Because if that's not right, nothing's gonna matter.
So here's all 3 of my tasks. New task, new task, new task. And this page layout goes to the market basket record type.
Right. If you go to the page layout assignment, though, you'll be able to
Right.
see
That's what it
yours.
is. It's weird. I'm not used to having people watch over my shoulder when I do stuff. So I'm really nervous
So
about it. I swear I know what I'm doing.
It's like when someone watches you type. It's okay.
Yeah. I swear I
Alright.
know how to. So here's my market basket record type. And then if you go to the record, it is a market basket record type.
Which component are you using?
The activities component.
Do you want
Sure
the
does.
chatter publisher one?
This one?
Yeah.
So
Just add it here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why-
the chatter one's what I've gotten too
Yeah.
that work.
But just put it above it. That's weird. I thought it was supposed to
Well,
be part of it.
I think some of these out of the box ones are, I can never remember which one does which. Just trying to look it up.
Well, I
Yeah, I
want to
think
show.
the
it
timeline
delete-
just shows the things. It doesn't actually let you create anything. It just is a display of them. Maybe.
That's what I was wondering, Sarah.
So on the
Yeah.
Will says to try chatter, not chatter publisher.
I'm in my org, and that's how I'm seeing the exact same thing. The activities just gives you the timeline of it.
So when I go to the activity, well, this is the tab, activity tab, and this is on the account object. You can see the buttons are there.
Well, what is that? Edit that.
This is the activities. This is the same component that's on the case. If I go back to cases and I click on the component, you're gonna get all this stuff here too.
I'm curious if
Is
you
it-
were,
Oh, you know what? You're on the case object and this isn't working?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay, so stupid things. If you can't, if the features are not active in the org, you can't use them. So like, you're not gonna see things that would relate to email, for example, if your deliverability is off. Like I know case ruins everything. And activities and cases are consistently like that. Hold up. Let me Google.
That's a good call out, especially being in a sandbox where deliverability might be off.
I
Yeah.
feel like I've run into this time and time again. But if you, and we just did this last episode with.
Yeah, deliverability is slowly making its way to the link Hall of Fame.
Yeah, turning
What-
the email deliverability on and off. Yeah.
what do you mean by deliverability? I missed the last.
So
MVP.
the sandboxes generally have email deliverability turned off so
Right.
that you don't accidentally email your customers or your leads and whatnot, right? While you're in a testing space, and you can turn that on to check things, but then we also recommend that you turn that off again when you're done checking the things. I don't know where that setting is off the top of my head, but I'm sure if you type email
getting
in
there.
setup,
Deliverability.
yeah, or deliverability in setup, it'll pop up.
But
Yeah,
how does
so-
that tie into activities and cases?
Well, it goes back to what Mike was saying, like if it's not activated, it's not going to display. And so if you activate the email deliverability, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
it's on.
This is my or
Yeah,
this is
oh,
my
that's right.
showing you
Yeah.
how to get there. So
Yeah,
Oh,
this is Dale's space.
yeah, if
Um,
you go to setup and look and search for deliverability, it'll be under email. And then this is what you're looking for. Your options are all system only or none. Best practice in a sandbox is generally none or system email only, but
Mhm.
that will then impact these kinds of actions abilities to actually render.
Oh, if I clicked, because it's on system email only.
Right.
If I were to go all email, then those buttons would show up.
Yes.
They should. And then when you're-
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Like
There are
Yeah,
other
maybe.
problems too.
yeah,
There
yeah,
could still
like
be this
maybe-
record type thing going on, I think, too.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look. I'm not gonna touch anything.
Well, you
Yeah.
opened, I actually don't think that that's going to be the problem because it was visible on,
Oh.
well, it could be. Who
On
knows?
account.
It's the case. Yeah, it's the case object. So
Yeah.
it's going to be funky here.
And that's
I
only
was
going to
looking at-
impact the email one as well.
Right.
There's still no buttons.
Yeah.
And Joy's my
So-
lead right now. So if anything does go out, it's gonna go to Joy.
So
please don't have my real email address anyway.
Kate, I'm going to get you her real email address. It's very important.
Stop it.
Um,
Ugh.
So I was looking and this link says activities with tasks, events, etc. are in the activities component, but it works different for the case object. In order to match the difference, you would want to use the chatter publisher and activities, and then they use a picture. So basically, the case object is a unique special snowflake that does not act like the other objects.
That's true.
Wonderful.
Because if
This-
you add an action or button, it has to be in, yeah, it doesn't go, that makes sense. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's different.
that makes
It's
sense.
because Service Cloud loves each of us, but not very much.
And I think I forget about that because we don't have service clouds, but we still leverage cases in our sales cloud. So I don't have the service cloud lingo.
Just to
Should-
amend that,
should-
that activities component sometimes behaves like based on where you place that. So you have on the account, you have on the like bigger screen, like on the right left hand side, but on the case you have on the small region. So if you place on the case, try that replacing, you should see that.
So you think the wider component will display those
Yeah.
buttons? All right.
It's worth trying.
Yes, it is.
It's a 3-second test.
I'm gonna change my deliverability options back.
I was going to follow up on Mike's comment just to say, should we just do a round robin and go through and everyone just comment on what you like least about the Service Cloud? I'll begin. I'll begin. Knowledge. Knowledge.
Oh, man.
Whoa. There's nothing wrong with knowledge.
Except if you look through the idea exchange and see how many topics or how many things are in knowledge that
We have a
have been
roadmap.
there for years and haven't been touched. That's all.
Have you looked at the new editor though? Like the new
Yeah.
one that just got released is a lot better.
Sure. And they sacrificed 100 other things to make the new editor, which is just fine. It's great.
The new editor, there's something wonky about bullets and numbers in the new editor though. But my product education team says it's still worth it to switch, even though there's issues with those bullets and numbers. I think that was it. Anyway.
I'll let somebody go next with what they don't like about Service Cloud.
I just don't like that it acts differently than the other objects. I wish it acted the same. It doesn't. I have to remind people it's a different application. Just think of it that way. That's why it doesn't act the same way sometimes.
But Sales Cloud has a lot of second class objects. I would even go as far as saying third class objects, like partner, like the opportunity roles, like partner, the entire junction between partners, opportunities, accounts, and stuff. That's all like second, third, maybe even fourth class citizens. So
To your point, Andrew, though, the second class objects and the third class objects are not consistent among themselves either. So you're right, but they're not consistent. They don't behave consistently either.
or price book, like price book or idea, which doesn't have view all or modify all on them from a permission.
Crazy time.
That's a great shirt force. I remember when it was product
Where?
instead of product 2.
I was-
Or general
That's-
too, if you're in the Ohana.
It's like 8 people left that will get that.
I was there. Shut up.
It was a Tuesday.
Shut up.
All right, so is there anything that we can do?
Katie, did you try? Did you move it to the wide section?
Yeah, I did that.
Button show up?
Yeah, well, no, when you move the activity to the wide section, it doesn't show up, but if you move the chatter
Publisher or the chatter one?
publisher right above, it looks like it's the same component.
But in the
So it's
lightning, like modify, it looks like there's a gap, but when you go back and look at it, it's smushed.
Mhm.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Does
it
that-
looks really good.
Does that
But I
resolve
don't-
your issue?
It does, and I wish I remembered because I have an action button on cases that I was like, why isn't my button at the top? And it was kind of like on a tab. I had to put it on a tab somewhere. And I wish it's like you use it once, like you said, and then you don't use it for a long, long time, and then you forget. So.
Also can tell you're from the Midwest because you said, yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I know.
That's a Chicago thing.
Yeah, no.
Dale, in all honesty, because I want to hear his voice, and he's from the Midwest, and I think in chat he said he has some follow-up on a item that he talked about several weeks ago. Todd, if you're still listening, can you speak up? Because I really need to hear your voice.
Okay, that frightens me, but here I am.
Are you okay? Stuart.
Are we ready to move on to my topic? Or
Yes.
Katie taken care of?
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you, everybody.
Last episode, I brought up that we were possibly moving from enterprise to unlimited editions. And I asked if there was anything that was going to burn my org to the ground and leave me with smoldering ashes. I've only had one small fire so far. So I thought I'd let people know and share my knowledge. So unlimited includes a lot of things that we were buying piecemeal. And my licenses for certain things went away overnight. Unfortunately, management didn't even tell me we were upgrading. It just happened. So biggest thing I ran into, we had Sales Cloud Einstein, which included Inbox and EAC, and that license went away. And permission set licenses. So I thought, no big deal. I found the Sales Cloud Einstein included permission set and license. Works great, but it doesn't include Inbox or EAC. So I had to go add 2 more permission sets. Einstein Activity Capture included and Inbox included. Yeah, Andrew's shaking his head.
So hold on. So the net math is at cutover, you lost certain licenses. There's permission sets that contain most of what those licenses granted, but not all the things, right?
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, keep
Correct. And hey, Andrew, you're shaking your head. Do you have some document out there that would point me in any direction of anything else I may have lost?
No, I mean, it just comes, just look at the extra stuff that you bought. Anything that you had that was an add-on, because when was it? June, they threw a bunch of stuff that was all add-ons into unlimited edition as included.
Okay.
So that's why they ended up with the PSLs for included. So when your contract, like if management would have, communicated, which is a big task to try and get people to do. But you could have tried to get like Salesforce to leave the other licenses in your org for like a week and cross provision, which would have helped with the cutover of it. But other than that, it's a matter of the permission sets went away. It's just like if you didn't renew something, those go away. So that's why there's no like actual document that describes it.
And the way I found this was they rolled out pipeline inspection to enterprise a while back, and we were testing it with some of our managers, and they decided to release it to our entire sales, all of our sales reps. And when I updated the permission set group, the recalculation failed on those permission set groups because I was missing those licenses. So I kind of found out about this in a roundabout way. So anyway, that's what I've learned so far on Unlimited. Couple quick questions. I've never had a full sandbox before. Any caveats or concerns there, or do I deal with it just like my partial sandbox and developer sandbox?
See earlier regarding email deliverability.
Okay.
Yeah, tip from someone who's screwed this up massively. Whenever you refresh, if you don't have some data masking tool, just do a simple export ID and email off of contact, lead, and any field that you have an email, and just append .invalid to all email addresses. Then you don't have to worry about deliverability because you'll need to turn it on at some point. And I found out we had an orphaned off partial sandbox out in the wild, which was sending a customer that their case is open and they're waiting for a response every day for years until they quit. And then the their boss emailed us and was like, why is this employee who left us getting the email? So that went on for years.
Nice. Yes, I actually have about a 2-page document I go through on any Sandbox refresh, and part of that is exporting contacts and updating the email address and putting them back. So that's one of the steps I have. Not only email, but also, what is it, additional, there's another table, additional contact methods or something like that. So I do 2 exports on contacts to make sure I catch all of the emails and alternate emails. So in looking at sandboxes now in UE, and I don't know if it's just unlimited edition or everybody, but I had a message pop up that's saying, why don't you get faster performance refreshing your sales box and move to Hyperforce? Ooh, I don't like that response. I saw all those heads.
You know,
that
I've
sounds like a
also
sales
read
pitch.
that we're all going to end up there someday. Has anyone done this?
yes, we're all going
just-
to end up on Lightning someday too.
Yeah, well, being a solo admin out here, if I know this stuff is coming, kind of like I did with Process Builder, I kind of got on that as soon as I could and moved everything to Flow. Just wondering, has anyone done Hyperforce, or should I just leave it lie for a while?
I would not jump into that first. It's like the first model year of a brand new car. Yeah, it works. You know, I've heard good things.
People have done Hyperforce. I mean, I know
Yeah.
people in Australia and India.
Yeah.
And
Let other
government,
people
the
work out the
government
bugs.
orgs that are on Hyperforce.
Let other people work out the bugs for you.
Okay,
would-
I didn't
would
know how
totally do
old
that.
it was or anything else, so that's why I wanted to
not.
bring it up here.
No, it's not. That
Yeah.
baby
Still in
still
its
needs
infancy.
diapers.
The number of Salesforce alerts I see for Hyperforce orgs are down, and alone, that makes me nervous.
Yes. We have enough service degradations in our current org.
So what's worse, Service Cloud Voice or Hyperforce being down? Because I get the Service Cloud Voice ones that it's having issues. That and CDP. Like often.
So
if you go ahead, Mike.
sorry, I was gonna go back to your Sandbox thing. Your full copy, like it's worth saying, your refresh window is 28 days.
Correct.
Right? Factor that in. You can't clone anything with that, right? Because it's a full copy. And you
Right.
can only clone an environment of the similar type. You only have one of those. And then the bigger piece is your SDLC or your management of your sandboxes and how you want to leverage this. As a solo admin, you're probably able to manage the amount of change you have in your instance pretty well. And so you might think of uses like a training environment, or using it for any big scale testing that you need to do. Almost every organization that I've worked with puts that full copy as the last step ahead of production. And so the biggest change in getting that new tool is how does it fit in with your current development lifecycle?
Gotcha. And you're headed right where I was. Right now, I've done everything in a partial sandbox, and then we move it to prod. So I want to insert that full copy in between, because I struggle even with one of the tools I have when I refresh the sandbox of getting all the connections back, all the relationships.
Oh yeah.
So we get opties with no accounts and vice versa. And that's
Yeah.
always a struggle. So I'm
Well, and
hoping what I
that's
want
a
to use
partial
the
problem.
full sandbox for will be the user acceptance testing before we go to prod.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because your partials, one of the big complaints about the partial copy is they say you get half your data. You get half your data up to 10,000 records.
Yes, and they may not be related. 10,000 accounts
Correct.
may not be related to any of the 10,000 contacts, which may not be related to any of the 10,000 opportunities.
Right, right. And,
Yeah.
and the larger your volume of data, the more likely that outcome is.
Correct. So, all right. Sounds like I'm at least still on the road. I'm not in the ditches yet, so.
Yeah, do you have need for like full life cycle integration testing with other systems? Because that, like, we would use our full sandbox for integration, like you said, UAT, but we'd also do it like for end-to-end integration testing and end processing testing, and then
That's
also
where I
for
plan on moving all the integrations is to the full sandbox.
yeah, and then also for training training our users on new features and
Right.
things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because every once in a while I put them on the partial sandbox to do training or testing, and lo and behold, I'm modifying something that they're trying to test. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
If you want to do something fun to make it even easier, set up single sign-on in the production org for the sandbox before you actually create the sandbox. And then when you go into that sandbox, you just have to go and turn on single sign-on, and you have to add it to the my domain, so you don't have to configure it every time that you make a sandbox. It won't work in production, but you can pre-set up all of your different single sign-on ones, like, because you already will know the domain, the my domain, your sandbox will be named, if that makes sense.
Yeah, my only concern about single sign-on there is I don't manage the single sign-on. It's another group,
Well, that's why
and I'm not sure they're going to want to set up people, and I also don't want my users signing in using the same credentials to production and test.
Well, they sign in with, like, for us, all of our users sign into Sandbox. They need to go there with just their Office 365 email, so they don't have to worry about anything at all. And if I don't want them to go in, I'll just turn off single sign-on for the Sandbox. So then they don't have to worry about resetting passwords, because our users don't even have passwords. So in a Sandbox, they wouldn't be able to access it because we block direct sign-in for production.
Yeah, I
Right, I've
wouldn't
done the
worry
same thing for
about,
prod.
I wouldn't worry about users using the exact same username and password for your pre-production and your production spaces, because it is only technically possible. When you have a user that exists in production and you then create a sandbox, that user will exist in the sandbox appended by that environment name.
Correct.
You could create a user in both environments with the same username, but only once. And so in production, your username is unique to you in your org, and in sandboxes, that is the same. So you can get away with the same email address in both, but then it's going to be, are you at login or are you at test? And that only works because one of them is hosted by Oracle and the other one's hosted by AWS.
Yeah, we have problems with some of our users possibly not going into the right environment either. That's why I don't even consider putting them on SSO.
Well, the good news is you now also have Einstein GPT for sales. So if you want to use your 8,000 credits, you've got those. If you want to buy more, you can buy a minimum of 1 million credit at $30,000 a year, which do not roll over and do not work for service.
Nice. All right. Well, that's all I have today. I'm good now. Thanks.
Right. Next, Sarah.
I just wanted to give a quick update that a while ago, maybe not last time, but the time before, I was talking about custom domains for Experience Cloud sites. You all encouraged me to submit it for a Dreamforce presentation, and it was accepted. So I will be talking about that at Dreamforce. And you can all come see how easy it actually is. That's all.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks. So thanks for the nudge. It was a good one.
Very cool. Excellent. All right, Sridhar.
All right. So I'm working with a client who has a pretty simple problem, or at least I thought so, and I wasn't able to give them a solution, and here I am. The request was they have two divisions that are running in the same Salesforce org, but each of the divisions wants to implement a different kind of dedupe process. And the only way these guys essentially denote or differentiate their account records is by using a record ID, record type ID. So record types are different. One is called, say, ABC, the other one is PQR. And with that as the differentiating factor, they want to set up different kinds of dedupe processes. The problem is when I start setting up a matching rule based on record type ID, it doesn't accept record types as one of the criteria. I know I can bring in a third-party tool like a Ringlead or a Cloud Dingo to go do this, but I'm trying to be cheap and try to use native functionality to do it.
Make a checkbox.
Can you define a custom field that mimics the record type ID in just a custom string, and then use that custom string as one of your criteria in your dedupe fields?
I tried creating a formula field that copied over the record type name and tried to bring that formula field in. That wouldn't take either. I have not tried a checkbox field.
So I don't think the formula is, so formulas are kind of dubious in general because formulas don't persist a value on the record.
Can I use flow? Can I use a Sarah can build a flow for me, and then I can populate a blank string with a flow and put a record type in that.
Or just a checkbox, make it easier.
Make a checkbox.
Why do you still think? I hate this checkbox thing. Checkbox is either a binary yes or no. Like it's either on or off, and I hate that. I hate
True.
that. Checkbox
True.
Well,
Because maybe you eventually have three record types, and then you'd want to have a pick list.
And you have record type text.
Record type field with a checkbox. You have the other record type field with a checkbox. And if you have more than two,
you're gonna have like 100 checkboxes.
it's gross, but
I mean,
Or just the text. Yeah, copy over the text.
You need another field that isn't a formula and isn't a lookup.
Okay.
Hi.
But
Why?
Dale.
Can we go back? I understand you want to be cheap. But his words, not mine. And I love Sridhar. Like from his days at Metazoa, I love Sridhar. So I think he knows that this is coming from a very loving place. I'm asking though, those kinds of apps were built to do that more complex function. I think we have many recordings in the past where as soon as someone says build a flow for it, I have to restrain myself from turning the camera off and going Hulk on everything. But is it just don't want to spend the cost, or the cost is too prohibitive? Because I go back to everything on the platform and everything that touches the platform was made to do a certain thing, including those apps. So is it cost prohibitive or just like cost not desirable?
I mean, if it is achievable through native mechanisms, I prefer to do that than go out for a third party. So it's a principle thing. It's not a cost thing.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough.
I would also go ahead.
I'm sorry. How about creating a default field with default value using case function with formula and display record types in there, and use that in the duplicate rules, the matching rules.
Or is this a formula that we think is going to be a problem, Mike? I see your brain turning gears. I was thinking like a default value with a pick list, based on the record type names.
Yeah, that works.
And only make, so you've got your X number of record types, and only the record type name that matches the record type is an option, and that's the default value.
Enjoy, you're avoiding Dale's question.
I am.
Which is why are you putting a Band-Aid over a bomb?
But
I don't know that that's a Band-Aid.
If that's only, this is the level of the hurdle though. Right now, we're not as the super complex. We're not super complex yet, but you may find yourself in a more complex situation where a Ringlead solution is going to be where you end up anyway.
I mean, honestly, this is a problem that exists because of data access. If you take a step back, you have two companies working in the same org. They might as well be totally unrelated organizations, and they both want to use the account object. Cool. Who can see what? You can tell your deduping process to use sharing. And if you were doing that, this wouldn't be a problem. And so this problem, the existence of this problem, suggests an underlying issue with data access that they have on the platform, which is either relevant or not relevant, depending on what type of business they're in and if they have any concerns around like GDPR, California privacy laws, stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there's any room for pushback on the two duplicate, like the two different dedupe methods. Like why do they want to do it differently?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a legit reason, or it could be, but I'm sort of like, that was the first flag to me, like, ooh, why can't they just use the same method?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'll be
Which
talking
might be a
about that for a
no-go.
while if I start that.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
This is like dating someone and they're like, oh, this phone you can see, this one you can't. Like, what? Why? Why is that?
That
There are
sounds like
things I
Kate's
wanna
a very
fight with, there
specific
are
place
things
that
I
I can
don't
turn
wanna.
record off for.
You can pause it.
I have the best analogies.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand not wanting to push back on what the client wants, but sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it begs the question.
I think I have some ideas here. I'll try out the build a flow thing and the default value as well that Joy suggested. That's another thing I'll try out, see which they like, and worst case scenario, we'll go. None of these works. We'll go to bring lead or plugin up.
So I want to back up though on not wanting to push back, because I could see a potential good coming out of that, that there's probably a couple of possible answers that come out of pushing back. One, they get pissed off because why are you challenging us? Well, yeah, that's fair. The other one is their answer, we have two different account records because we don't know. Is that an opportunity to implement an actual data integrity model that gets you to a single record, a single view of the customer, et cetera? Is the emperor not wearing any pants, basically?
Well, I mean, do you want to open up the question of why do you architect one org versus two orgs? And there's a document I could try and find and then put into chat, but you know, are your business processes the same? So if you have multiple divisions that need to have different things going on here with the data, like access to the data in different ways, are your business processes the same? Are your customers, the accounts and contacts the same, and do you treat them the same, or are they different concepts? Is the client a different definition in one org and then another org? Is your security model completely different in one group and another group? And then there's another culture. The company culture, is it completely separate from each other? For those 4 reasons, and then another bunch of reasons, would you decide to split up the org and move those people off to a different site, because you just shouldn't have the data living together? And Salesforce has an article on making these types of decisions. And I'm not saying that you should split up the data, but when you get down to these like core concepts that maybe Dale is getting at, of get to the 5 whys of why are we having such problems with this duplicate? Are there deeper problems that we have to ask?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a fair question. These guys are intending to merge everything instead of keeping things separate eventually. It's one of those stopgap approaches before a higher power steps in and says, okay, merge everything. Let's come up with a common set of processes, whatnot. So,
but even then, it still sounds like they're moving into a house with 2 living rooms, 2 kitchens, different bathrooms, different bedrooms, different basements. Like, why?
For now,
you got to keep one kosher. It's fine.
Political reasons, Dale. Political reasons, and there are certain fights I don't want to have, as you can imagine. It's easier.
Fair enough.
All right, thank you. I have some paths forward.
Do we have any other questions? We only have 7 minutes left. Holy cow, no questions this week. This is amazing. No more
I
questions.
can give you an update, Joy, if you remember the issue that I brought up like 2 months ago about the notifications that would never go away and everyone thought it was crazy.
Yes, tell us.
So it turns out they released this cool thing that gives you a notification in the bell when your contract's up for renewal, 90 days before your contract is up for renewal. When they did that, any org that was within this 90-day period, they did some change with the custom notification ID that, like, you set up those custom notification types in the org, like for your custom ones. They did something with that. So any org that had a notification or was within 90 days when they pushed this out in the summer release would have this missing link, so that which forced it to not be able to clear out the notification. So when you view a notification, it would not be able to understand how to clear it out, so it would fault out in the back end.
So
But
it was like
self-res-
permanent red flag, like for
But
you
it-
to like do something.
Yeah, but it self-resolved itself. So this happened for any org that when they rolled it out was within 90 days of their renewal. And so it was only, if you think about 90 days, of maybe 1/4 of the orgs across Salesforce. However, then it self-resolves after 30 days, because notifications, I guess, automatically clear after 30 days. Like Salesforce on the back end expires them out. So it self-resolved itself because someone didn't do good regression testing. Not pointing fingers, but
And-
there's the crazy.
And that answer is supposed to assure us that you are not insane.
I didn't
No,
get
that I don't think
Okay.
that would help you think I'm not insane.
All right.
That's
I figured-
that's interesting. I do remember that, like, you know, the the
I
bell.
also remember that the bell kept coming up no matter what.
And
stayed lit up.
the other org I was testing in had a renewal in July. Ours is in August. So it was like the two orgs that I could duplicate it in just happened to have the renewals, and I didn't realize that.
So how did
So-
you get to the bottom of that? Did you contact Salesforce or?
Oh, it was going through Salesforce support back and forth until I was crazy. And then I just talked to the Your Account team, because my
See-
account's also been broken for a month and a half now.
And now I don't believe you at all, because you're suggesting that Salesforce support fixed something.
They didn't.
And
No, they didn't fix it. They didn't fix it. They
No,
didn't
you
fix
said
it.
it's Self-resolved. is what you-
It's self-resolved,
Yeah.
and then I got the puzzle pieces put together after the 30-day window, because I got enough little bits of stuff that was found out.
So you didn't get actual resolution on this. You are drawing conclusions based on the information trail you followed, just to be clear.
Was
Well,
their
then
answer
I did
back?
talk to the PM team about it.
Okay.
That
Okay, you
owned
just
it,
talked.
so.
Excellent.
Was the answer back to you? Don't worry, it will self-resolve.
I mean,
It's working as designed and will self-resolve. Just be okay.
this feels
No,
like a very
this-
sideways Schrodinger's cat.
This was after the fact. I found out after it stopped happening around like July
Mhm.
10th-ish, right around that time. And then when I was at Tahoe Dreaming, that's when I found out there's a 30-day window that notification expires. So I started putting all of the pieces together of this whole mess.
I'm glad it's no longer a permanent notification in your work. Oh man. We have exactly 3 minutes, Dilip. Andrew, thank you for that update. Dilip, has anyone enabled Sandbox access feature? I'm not sure I understand that question exactly.
So I can repeat that. So
Mhm.
recently we enabled Sandbox access in production. So which actually you can select a group of users, public group, when you're refreshing or creating a sandbox, then it will remove the .invalid from the user email in the sandbox. So
I have
so
not
we-
heard of that.
yeah, it's
I thought they pulled that out of pilot. I thought it was in pilot/beta, and they pulled that out because it was in the release notes. And then, like, I think for spring in it, they pulled it back.
Yeah, but to enable that, we have to reach out to Salesforce support team, so they enabled for us. But recent, like we did that couple months back, but currently, I think 1 week, maybe 2-3 days back, I noticed something. When you select that and refresh the sandbox, all the users are getting freezed, except the user that created the sandbox. All the users are getting freezed and the email is not changing. it worked for a couple months good, but now we are facing this issue. And I mean, again, I'm working with Salesforce support, but no resolution on that yet.
So
Yeah,
I,
if that was in beta, I would have pretty much have to go back to
yeah.
the folks that set that up for you, because I don't think support will be able to help you.
So I didn't get a chance to finish it, but I did write an Apex class that I stuck in a sandbox so that when you refreshed, I'd run the class, and the class took every user that was a sysadmin and removed .invalid. And it was failing because of a setting that requires that to be a second click to approve that. Like if you change a user's email address, there's like, are you sure we're going to notify them? There's a setting somewhere that I think that you can turn that off. And if you do that, then you could just do it with a script. But that would be a cool feature.
To change the email without and have it auto mark as verified, you need to log a case with Salesforce support. They can enable a feature in your org that will allow your domain. You have to also submit a letter that's signed on letterhead that says that you own the domain. Then they'll let you can set at whatever users as that email address with the domain, and it will automatically mark as verified without emails. However, you can't add any user from any other email domain that's not whitelisted.
Allow listed.
Or allow listed, yes. Allow
All right,
listed.
friends, this is our 2:00 bell. Dale Squire, Dale Squire's got to go. And it's been a lively chat today. Thank you for your time. We appreciated you being here. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. What was that date, Dale?
18th.
18th. Okay, we'll see everyone back on the 18th. So, bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
You guys.